Have you ever felt there is more to life than what you are currently living? Have you ever wished for the tools to transform your dreams into reality? Welcome to Change Your Mindset and Your Life. This is not just a book. It is an open door to a new world of possibilities and discoveries. Before we dive into my teachings, I want you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine your ideal life. Visualize clearly how you see yourself, where you are, what you are doing, and most importantly, how you feel. This image, vivid and real in your mind, is not just a fantasy. It is a possibility and an attainable destination. I teach that within each of us lies an immense power, capable of transforming our reality and taking us to unsuspected heights. The essence of this book lies in understanding that our thoughts are the seeds of our reality. Every thought and belief we harbor has the power to shape our experiences and destiny. I guide you through a journey of self-discovery, showing you how you can use your mind to attract health, wealth, happiness, and success. Throughout this audiobook, you will learn that the powerful life you desire is not a distant dream, but a tangible possibility. I challenge you to see beyond appearances, to understand that everything we need is already within you, waiting to be awakened and utilized. I teach you to let go of self-imposed limitations and embrace the power of creative thinking. Let me share a fundamental truth that will change your perspective. The universe is a limitless field of possibilities, and you have the power to shape it with your thoughts. Yes, you have that power. It is not something reserved for a select few. It is your birthright. So I invite you to embark on this journey with an open mind and a willing heart. As you listen to each chapter, allow the words to resonate within you, awakening that spark of power within you. This is not only a time to learn, but to transform. Introduction. Get ready to challenge your limiting beliefs, discover new truths, and start living the life you've always wanted. Remember, every step you take toward change begins with a thought. And today, that first thought is that you are ready to change your mindset and your life. Where does the power come from? It comes from the realization that a successful, powerful life can be lived here and by anyone. We are obliged to concede this, and having conceded it, we cannot help but wish to live this life because when well lived, it means health, wealth, power, happiness, and all the success in life. Those who read this series of lessons are going to learn how to live it. But first, they need to understand a little of what power is and where it comes from. We are moving from the physical, animal, or material stage of development to the mental and spiritual stage. We are moving from being physical men and women to becoming mental and spiritual men and women. Making this change is sometimes a matter of considerable difficulty. Most people are still not doing it at all. They are still totally material in their beliefs and thoughts. They do not see the world of spirit. They put their faith in houses, land, money, etc. And because they believe in these things, they are subject to them. The only power they conceive of is a life of physical power. New thought people, those whose spiritual eyes are opening, who begin to see the inner and finer world penetrating the false appearances of the world of matter, who begin to see spirit as the cause of matter and natural phenomena, are those to whom Jesus referred when speaking to Nicodemus. They are born of spirit and begin to see the kingdom of God. They have glimpses of a powerful life that can be lived in the flesh and here on earth. They occasionally enter into it and live it for a time, but their great difficulty is a lack of understanding as to what the power is and how the life is to be lived. This is what we are going to discover. Chapter 1. Substance is Spirit. The first step is to learn the great truth about the universe, which is that all is one. All things are forms of one substance, and that substance is too conscious and intelligent. It is spirit. Substance is spirit. All is spirit. There is nothing but spirit. Before you can fully believe in this great truth, you will have to learn to disbelieve much of what your senses tell you, and it is easy to do this when you realize how unreliable the senses are. The physical man depends on the senses for everything. To him, seeing is believing, and he accepts as real the appearances around him. But in reality, he is grossly deluded. He lives in an unreal world. His whole universe is a delusion and is not what it seems to him at all. This man must believe that he lives in a flat world under a solid blue arch. The sun and moon travel above him, and his earth is motionless, and the stars are little points of light. These are the appearances of the physical world given to us by the senses, and yet no civilized person now really believes them. We know that the earth is round, that the sky is not solid, that the stars are much larger than the earth, and that the earth revolves around the sun. No well-informed person believes what he sees in these things. He looks at reality through appearances. Let us take another example. Nothing seems more real than color, and one can hardly doubt that the objects around us really have the hue they appear to have, that grass is green, and robin's breast is red, and so on, but color exists only in consciousness. When an object appears to us to be a certain color, such as red, it is not really red. The red object reflects or refuses to absorb and receive the red of the ray of light that strikes it and returns it to the eye. We see the color it rejects and not the color it is. Where there is no eye to receive the reflection, the color does not exist. Thus, it is not enough to believe that appearances are true. We must look through them and see the one reality, and the one reality of all things is spirit. The first step for those who want to lead the mighty life is to stop being deceived by appearances and to perceive the truth, to stop believing in what appears to be and to have faith in what is. They must get to the heart of things, and instead of trying to reason from appearances to realities, they must believe in realities and disregard appearances. Spirit is substance, and all substance is spirit. There cannot be two substances. The moment we admit that there are two substances, spirit and matter, we are absolutely lost. If matter is distinct from spirit, then it has powers and potentialities of its own and can affect us for good or evil. Therefore, if we believe this, we shall bind ourselves more and more to the matter we can see and have less and less faith in the spirit. We cannot see or can only feel, and the mighty life will become impossible for us. We must see that spirit is substance and that it is the only substance. Nothing exists but spirit. Then we must come to understand that spirit is life and that it is all life that exists. Nothing lives but spirit. Every thought of man, every volition of any animal, every unfolding of leaf or flower is spirit acting in the things that move. Spirit lives in grass, flowers, and trees, in flesh and insects, in animals and men. There is no life but the life of the Spirit. He gives life to all. In Him we live and move and exist. Nothing has individual life or life of its own. All is the life of the Spirit. Again, all power is Spirit. All movement in nature or in art, from the fluttering of a leaf to the rushing of the giant stream through the man-made dynamo, is Spirit. And in all of it and through it all, Spirit is working intelligently towards some great purpose or purposes of its own. That there is intelligence through the power of nature is demonstrated by one thing among many: continuity. Everything works under the same laws yesterday, today, and forever. But suppose that one day the water pipes ran water, and the next day gasoline. One day you weighed 110 pounds, and the next day half a ton, with the laws of gravity and chemistry working contrary to each other. Then, you might suspect that there were two forces in nature, or that the one force was an unintelligent force. If you want to live the powerful life of Samson, Napoleon, or the evangelist, and you do, you are seeking more power. This is what we all seek. Whether we just want to get rich or excel in society or educate our children well or become benefactors of humanity, all we require is power and the ability to lead the mighty life. At the end of this first chapter, I present you with this fact, which, if you can fully grasp it, will give you the basis upon which you must stand to lead the life. And if you continue with the following lessons, it will certainly enable you to lead it. We live and move and have our being in the boundless ocean of intelligent spirit, from which we draw our life and our power, physical, mental, and spiritual. All power is in this spirit, and we can learn to become so unified with the spirit that we will have more and more power. In fact, we can have all the power that it can entrust us with, and only then is it a matter of making ourselves trustworthy. Chapter 2: The Entrepreneurial Attitude. Like causes under like conditions produce like effects. Success in business is an effect and cannot be an exception to the law of cause and effect. The cause of success is the person who succeeds. Something in them has been applied to their work and has produced a certain result. What is there in an individual that produces the result of success? It is not physical strength, although physical strength can be a great help. However, not all strong people are successful, and those who are successful have the ability to apply their physical strength in such a way as to help them produce the result of success. It is not intellectual capacity, for not all intellectually capable people are successful. Those who are have the ability to direct their intellectual capacity in such a way as to help them achieve success. The power that makes the person successful, therefore, is the power to apply physical and mental ability to produce results. This power must be an attitude of the individual themselves. It is not a special gift for a few, nor a rudimentary faculty that each one can develop. It is a position to be assumed. If their capacities and energies are to be directed, it is the person themselves who must direct them, and if they direct them, it is the power that causes success. A human being has the inherent power to direct their own capacities and energies, and everyone is conscious of having this power. It is because a person has it that he or she is able to grow and progress. To make a successful person, it is necessary to make one who knows what things result in success and who will direct their energies to do those things. And the first essential to this is that he assumes the attitude of self-direction. Every man or woman is self-directed or directed by the suggestions that come from his or her environment. The individual who can is always self-directed. The one who is directed by suggestion is the one who cannot. The individual directed by suggestion has a horoscope. His or her destiny is decided by heredity and environment. The self-directed person does not allow their thoughts to be dictated by heredity, environment, or the stars. They think what they want to think, and if their horoscope does not suit them, they make themselves a better one. Success depends on business policy. The business policy can only be formulated by thought. Therefore, whether a person succeeds or fails depends on their thinking. The directed man or woman has only the thought suggested to him or her by his or her environment. So he or she can only do what those around him or her believe he or she can do. The self-directed man or woman thinks what he or she wants to think, and therefore can do what he or she wants to do. To become the man or woman who can, the first step is to adopt the attitude of self-direction. Receive and consider every suggestion that comes from your environment, but do not act on the suggestion. Act on your own conclusions about the suggestion. Digest and assimilate suggestions as you digest and assimilate food. Make them part of your own thinking before you use them, and learn to reject those you find indigestible. Chapter 3: Success and Desire. Success is becoming what you want to be and is obtained by applying your energies to your work, and you will apply your energies in exact proportion to the intensity of your desire and to your faith in your ability to become what you want to be. The intensity of your desire will depend on the clarity with which you imagine what you want to be. Vague and undefined longings will never call for your best effort. Form a mental image of what you want to be and of all that you want in person, property, and environment. Dwell on it until it becomes clear and definite, and hold it until it arouses intense desire. Think of this image until you are always conscious of it no matter what you are doing, so that it is always in the background of your consciousness. Even if you have a strong desire, you will not put all your effort into it without confidence. You will have to think you can before you can, and you cannot think that you can unless you feel that you can. So you need to have demonstrated the fact that you can feel that you can. In other words, if you strongly desire to do a thing, it is a certain proof that you have the power to do it. Desire is the result of a feeling, and the feeling that gives rise to desire is a faculty that seeks its expression. The desire to sing or play music is the musical faculty seeking expression. And if there were no faculty or power, there could be no desire. We cannot desire things that do not harmonize with the inner forces, because a thing that does not harmonize with the inner forces repulses us. Things only harmonize with things of the same essential nature. Therefore, if you desire a thing, it is because that thing is essentially and potentially within you. What is essentially in you must potentially be in you. When we see a generous and sympathetic person, we desire to be like them because the sight awakens in us generosity and sympathy. The power of being, seeking expression, causes the desire to be. When we hear great oratory or a beautiful song, we desire to execute a similar performance because the powers of oratory or music respond to the stimulus and seek expression. Desire is a power that seeks expression. You cannot desire what is not potentially within you, and therefore you can be what you want to be. The fact that you want to be is proof that you can be. First, form a clear conception of what you want to be in person, property, and environment, and then realize that, insofar as your desires are not contrary to eternal justice, it is absolutely certain that you can be what you want to be. Chapter 4: Becoming What You Want to Be. Success is a progressive evolution of the faculties of the successful individual. To understand this, remember that success is becoming what you want to be. Becoming what you want to be consists in satisfying your desires, and desire is the effort of a faculty to come into action. Every gain in money or position that a man or woman can obtain enables him or her to put a new faculty into action or to make better use of an old one. This satisfies desire and is success. The man or woman who can utilize most of his or her faculties is the man or woman who can. And because he or she is a person who can, he or she is a person of success. Success, then, being an evolution of the successful human being, must follow the evolutionary principle of action. And the basic fact in evolution is that each lower plane contains all the potentialities required to perform the functions of the higher plane. In ascending to a higher plane, new faculties are brought into use, but we also see the continued use of faculties that were active on the lower plane, and it is the full development of these faculties, or their fullest possible use, that makes the ascent to a higher plane possible. Evolution never reaches the higher plane from imperfectly developed specimens on the lower plane, but always from the most perfectly developed. In other words, the evolutionary principle is that the organisms that function most perfectly on the lower plane are closest to the higher plane, and the way to approach the higher plane is by perfecting function on the lower plane. However, something more is necessary. For if no organism did anything but function perfectly on its own plane, there would be no evolution. Evolution begins when organisms begin to add to the necessary functions of the plane on which they live, faculties that can only be perfected on a higher plane. Your present work may not be the work you want to do, but unless you can do your present work perfectly, you are not ready for the work you want to do. Even when you can do your present work perfectly, if that is all you can do, you are not ready for anything else. Only when you can do your present job perfectly and do some other work in addition are you ready to move forward. Evolution is accomplished by developing the faculties that are to be used on a higher plane, and this is done by first doing the work of the lower plane perfectly and then adding to it so as to bring other faculties into use, or so develop those already in use that they become too great to find expression on the lower plane. To elevate yourself, you must not only fill your present place, but you must more than fill it. It is that part of you which projects itself beyond the limits of your present place that takes hold in the higher place. The evolutionary principle of success is that you must fill more than your present place, and you cannot succeed otherwise. Chapter 5: Promoting Yourself. The life of success is the life that advances, and the life that advances is lived in obedience to the evolutionary principle. The evolutionary principle is that advancement comes by more than filling your present place, and this is true whether you are an employee or are in business for yourself. However, merely purposely doing more work than is required will not advance you. It will probably only tend to keep you where you are. If you are an employee and have no ambition to do more than fill your current position, your employer will be interested in keeping you in your current position and probably will. You must know what you want to be, and you must occupy more than your current position for the purpose of becoming what you want to be. Don't do extra work with the idea that by doing so, you can curry favor with your employer. That will put you in a subservient attitude and out of the attitude of self-direction. Don't do it in the hope that those above you will see your good service and promote you. They may find it more profitable to keep you where you are. Do what you do for the purpose of promoting yourself. Occupy more than your position in order to develop your faculties for a higher position. If your employer does not offer you one when you are ready for it, offer yourself to another employer. There are always places for the advancing man or woman. Keep your mind fixed on what you want to be and more than fill your present position. Your mental attitude will make you quick to see every opportunity to improve your condition, and you will be competent to take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves. Do not wait for an opportunity to be all you want to be. Be all you can be today, and when an opportunity to be more is offered to you, take it. There is no such thing as a lack of opportunity for the man or woman who is living the advancing life and who has an advancing mind. Everything that touches your life is an opportunity if you discover its proper use. Every circumstance, every seeming misfortune, every person you meet, every dog that barks at you or wags its tail in your path, all have some element of usefulness to you if you can find it. Study them all, for they are your opportunities. Most men and women fail by waiting for some particular kind of opportunity instead of being prepared to take advantage of every opportunity. Hold firmly to the image of all that you want to attain in person, property, and surroundings. Live the inner advancing life more than filling your present place. Live the outer accumulative life, acquiring all that you find that belongs to your image, and you cannot fail. The stars in their course will fight for you. Your success will be the work of the evolutionary principle of the creative power of the universe. Chapter 6: Advancing Thought. If you work for yourself, the evolutionary principle of success is the same as if you were working for someone else. You must keep in mind what you want to become and more than fill your present place each day. That doesn't mean you should try to do some of tomorrow's work today. You have nothing to do with tomorrow's work except to be ready for it when it comes. But you must do all that is necessary for today's business and some for the increase. In every transaction, you must keep your mind in advance. You must put the expanding thought into everything you do and communicate it to every person with whom you have dealings. If you sell a pound of sugar, do so with the thought that the buyer's trade is valuable because he will soon be able to buy in barrel lots. If a child buys a penny candy, put into the sale the thought that one day he will buy a 5-pound box, and in every case, see to it that the customer receives the thought. Put into every sale the thought of advancement for the customer as well as for yourself. Soon, everyone will feel that they are getting bargains on everything, and they will be right. If you thus introduce the forward thinking into every transaction, your customers will pick it up as far as their own affairs are concerned, and they will begin to be more successful and mentally relate their success to you. This will strongly attract them to you. The best deal you can give another person is to communicate breakthrough thinking with respect to their own affairs. No bonus or rebate equals this. When you send a person away with the feeling that they are moving forward at becoming a more valuable customer, you give them the greatest possible encouragement to come back and visit you again. If you communicate to your customers the idea of moving forward, they will begin to succeed because of it, and intuitively connecting their successes to you, they will come to you for more empowerment. You will empower them, and they in turn will empower you. The man or woman who can give the thought of advancement to all who deal with them cannot fail. They have exactly what they are looking for. This principle holds true whether you are a tradesman, an artist, a professional, an actor, or a singer. It doesn't matter what it is. You can more than fill your current niche so that your customers, patrons, or audiences know they are getting a bargain. It's not the quantity or quality of the goods that makes the bargain. It's the feeling of advancement or increase. The basic element of success in business is to maintain the thought and mental attitude of advancement and to fill your present place with increase. You more than fill your place by doing your work in such a way that those who deal with you are aware that you are advancing them. Through the study and application of the evolutionary principle, success becomes a certainty and failure an impossibility. Chapter 7. The Law of Opulence. Whosoever is not born again cannot see the kingdom of God. To live a new life, the first essential is to abandon the idea of competition and limited supply. Too many people who consider themselves practitioners of new thinking never quite get it. Competition in business arises from the concept of limited supply. It stems from the belief that resources are limited, causing people to compete for what is available. Many people who have a partial understanding of the new thinking still assume it is necessary for some to be poor in order for others to have enough. They think only those with exceptional abilities or the power to attract more limited resources can achieve wealth. These individuals try to apply the principles of new thinking on the competitive plane, often doing so successfully. They attempt to develop superior drawing power, inject new motives and energy into competitive methods, and affirm their success while believing that it depends on the failure of others. Many new competitive thinkers achieve notable success due to their faith, which provides them with energy, drive, and optimism. This confidence, born of belief, often leads to effective actions and notable results. However, their partial application of new thinking ideas remains tied to competition. They attribute success to the power of thought and affirmation, but their approach is still grounded in the old thinking of limited supply and scarcity. The fortunes of these individuals vary. They face losses, fears, and the impact of challenges. Their security is based on self-confidence, yet a subconscious fear lingers within. No one who believes in limitation can truly be free from fear because the idea of scarcity implies the possibility of lack at any moment. The failures of new thinking individuals stem from their belief in competition and limited supply. They assume success and wealth are only attainable for a select few. But is competition vital? When we examine the essentials of life, food, clothing, shelter, education, and amusement, we find no real limitation in supply. Food, for example, is abundantly available. Even in its early stages, modern agriculture has shown the potential to produce enough to feed the entire global population many times over. Similarly, there is no shortage of materials for clothing or shelter. The natural world provides an inexhaustible supply of resources for all our needs, from necessities to luxuries. Modern machinery and technology have significantly enhanced production capabilities, enabling the creation of more goods with less labor. There is no need for competition for resources or work, as there is plenty to go around. the idea of scarcity is a falsehood perpetuated by old thinking. To live a new life is to recognize and embrace the abundance inherent in the universe. The kingdom of God, like leaven in flour, permeates all of nature. This kingdom represents the fullness of life and the infinite potential for growth and expression. Living life means continuously expanding, growing, and evolving toward a greater expression of existence. Life, in its essence, is the movement toward more life. This need for expansion drives all progress and evolution, from the simplest organisms to the complexities of human existence. The purpose of all things is to support and foster this advancement, enabling humanity to live more fully and abundantly. The worth of a person's life lies not in what they own, but in how they use and appreciate things. The mind of nature, being the mind of God, desires the advancement of all. When we align ourselves with this universal mind, recognizing its abundance and working with it, we invite all good things into our lives. Competition, on the other hand, obscures this abundance. It confines individuals to a mindset of scarcity and struggle, hindering their ability to recognize the infinite potential available to all. By seeking the kingdom of God and embracing its principles of abundance, we free ourselves from the limitations of competition and experience true opulence. Chapter 8: Us and Money. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. God, the mind of nature, produces the abundance of nature for the purpose of providing for the development of man, not only of some men or women, but of mankind. The purpose of nature is the continual advancement of life, and as man or woman is the embodiment of God and the highest form of life, the purpose of nature must be the continual advancement of every man and woman toward a fuller life. Therefore, to be one with the mind of nature is to seek the advancement of all at the expense of none, to seek to obtain for all what one wishes to obtain for oneself. This should take us completely out of competitive thinking. What I want for myself, I want for all. That is the Declaration of Independence addressed to the competitive system. Father, ours, give us. That is the prayer of the advancing life. This declaration and prayer are in unison with the mind of nature. The man who thus declares and thus prays is mentally one with all that lives, God, nature, and man. And this is the atonement. Being mentally one with the mind of things makes you able to register your thoughts in that mind and also your desires. When you desire a thing and your mind and the mind of things are one, that thing will desire you and move towards you. If you desire dollars and your mind is one with the mind that pervades dollars and all other things, the dollars will permeate with the desire to come to you and move toward you, impelled by the eternal power that makes life more abundant. To get what you desire, you need only establish your own union with the mind of things, and they will be drawn to you. But the primary purpose of the mind of things is the continual advancement of all toward a more abundant life. Therefore, nothing will be taken from anyone to give to you unless you give that person more in the way of life than you take from him. It will be clearly seen that the divine mind cannot come into action in the field of purely competitive business. God cannot be divided against himself. He cannot be made to take from one to give to another. He will not diminish one man or woman's opportunity to advance in life in order to increase another's opportunity to advance in life. He is no respecter of persons, and he has no favorites. He is an all alike for all alike, and at the service of all alike. To do it, one means you must see that your business gives everyone you deal with a full equivalent in life for the monetary value of what you take from them. I say in life, it does not necessarily mean in monetary value. This is what many critics of the profit system fail to understand, that a thing of little value to one man may be of inestimable value to another who can use it for the advancement of life. A box of matches would be worth more to an Eskimo than a combine harvester. The value of a thing to an individual is determined by the plane of life on which he stands. What is worthless on one plane, or at one stage of his or her development, is indispensable on another plane or at another stage. The life-giving power of any article may be out of all proportion to its monetary value. This book is not worth $1 so far as the cash value of paper and ink is concerned, but a sentence in it may be worth thousands of dollars to any reader. You can sell an item for more than it cost you, making a profit, but the buyer may put it to such use that to him it is worth hundreds of times its cost, and in that case, the profit is not theft. Make sure that your company meets this fundamental requirement. It is the first step. When you have done this, you will be one with that intelligence in nature, which is working for more life for all. You are working together with Him, as St. Paul says, you and your Father are one. The aim of your work is that all may have life and have it in abundance. What you seek for yourself, you seek for all, and the mental principle of all you need begins to gravitate to you. If you need dollars, the mind of things in the dollars is aware of the need, and you can truthfully state that dollars want me. Dollars will begin to move towards you, and they will come invariably from those who need what you can give in return. Divine Mind will attend to the transfer of that which is necessary for the advancement of life to the place where the need exists. This will apply not only to all that you need to keep your business going, but to all that you are able to use to bring yourself into a fuller life. You will not be denied anything good. Your unity with the evolutionary power, with the purpose of nature, will be such that you will receive all that nature has to give. Because you will always do the will of God, all things will be yours, and you will not need to compete with anyone. But you must bear in mind that your desires are impressed upon the Divine Mind only by your faith. Doubt cuts the connection. Anxiety and fear cut the connection. Just as you impress your own subconscious mind, you impress the mind of things. Your affirmations fail unless they are made with the dynamic power of absolute faith. The mind of things will not act positively because of doubt and hesitation. Whatsoever things you shall ask when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you shall have them. We cannot walk and work with God and destroy and distrust Him at the same time. If you feel distrust, you imprint on the mind of things distrust toward you, and things will move away from you instead of toward you. The requirements for non-competitive success are very simple. First, desire for everyone what you desire for yourself, and be sure to take nothing from anyone without giving a full equivalent in life, and the more you give, the better for you. Next, move with absolute faith that everything you need for the fullest life you are capable of living will come to you. Pray with unwavering faith to the Father that it will come to you, and thank Him in every prayer from a heart full of gratitude that it does come to you. Everything that comes to you will then mean more life for someone else. Every gain you make will increase someone else's wealth. What you get for yourself, you get for everyone. Your success increases everyone's life, health, wealth, and happiness. But someone says, how is this different from competition, after all? Aren't you still competing with those in the same line of business? Number. What you gain will not come from the limited supply that others are fighting for, but from the whole. Let me illustrate. There is arguably only a limited amount of money in the country, not enough to meet everyone's needs. Suppose a large number of people come into this way of life, and the dollars begin to move to all of them. There will not be enough for all. That is true, but the thought of need impressed upon the mind of things would react upon the minds of men. New monetary laws would be passed, bullion would begin to move into mints, and printing presses would produce bank bills if needed for the advancement of life. The mind of things reaches beyond coined money to the gold and silver that lie in the hearts of the hills, and all will begin to advance when called for by the prayer of faith. The mind of things can summon resources from the ends of the earth to meet the demand, and so it is with everything else. Not only the mints, but also the mills will be set in motion when a sufficient number of people have entered the path of advancing life. If it is insisted that the wage system prevents the workers from living a full life, the answer is that when the workers begin to live a full life, if the wage system stands in the way of their advancement, it will be changed. Their demand for more life will be all that is needed to change it. Life cannot advance by changing systems, but systems can change with the advancement of life. There is much work to be done in building useful and beautiful things. All that is needed is a demand for those things by those whose sole purpose is to use them to give more life to all. As the number of such people increases, the prosperity of all will increase, and a constantly increasing proportion of all classes will enter into truth, abandoning competition and the way of limited supply until the kingdom is established on earth as it is in heaven, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more weeping, neither shall there be any more pain, and there shall be no more night there. Chapter 9. Conversations that build. Do not talk about poverty. It adds nothing to the richness and happiness of the world to spread the information that you have always been poor and that you have had a very hard struggle to get ahead. You can no more brag about poverty than you can brag about. The old saying that it is not a disgrace to be poor is only half true. In the true sense, it is really a disgrace to be poor. No one is poor or in difficulty except A, the ignorant, B, the lazy, and C, the incompetent. This sounds harsh, and you are ready to throw your hands on your head about it. You want to tell me that tenants and wage slaves have no chance, and so on. But wait a bit. The wage slaves are really the masters of the world. They have created it all, and they could take possession of it tomorrow if they wanted to. They can start at any time to use the factories to make things for themselves instead of converting wealth for their masters. But they do not do so because they are A, too ignorant to know that this is their world, B, too intellectually lazy to think, and thus discover that this is their world, and C, because they do not think. Intellectual laziness is what keeps the masses down. Those who work hard and willingly in other ways shrink from the effort of sustained and consecutive thought, and because they let other people think for them, they are slaves. The masses will be wage slaves as long as the 5 and 10-cent movie theaters are crowded and the public libraries are deserted. I tell you this because I want to make clear to you the futility of talking about poverty. Talk of poverty and adverse conditions will only lead people to run to cheap shows and to try in other ways to drown their miseries in temporary pleasures. The more they talk and think of their hard times, the more they will be inclined to seek some mental narcotic to dull the sharp edge of their suffering, and the longer they will suffer. There is no surer way to keep the masses poor than to write and talk continually about their poverty. Talk of the coming of the good times. The good times are coming, and the rapidity of their arrival is exactly proportional to the number of people who think about it and talk about it. Instead of showing horrible pictures of the conditions of those who live in the tenements, show beautiful pictures of the conditions of those who will live in the coming city. If you can inspire even one person to go to work in the coming city, you will have done more good than sending 10 people with slaves and plasters to alleviate the existing hardships. Instead of crusading against child labor and poor factory conditions, tell the workers what splendid conditions they will have when they awaken and begin to run the industries themselves. The masses are slaves to nothing but ignorance and intellectual laziness. They can have anything they want if they begin to think, and the way to make them think is to talk about wealth. That's philosophy for the masses, and the same applies to you as an individual. If the masses are not ready or willing to rise, you don't have to stay down with them. You can rise above them. But you can never rise if you keep talking about yourself as if you were down with them. If you keep talking about yourself as being one of those who have difficulty getting ahead, You will continue to be one of those who have difficulty getting ahead. Don't talk about how poor your parents were and how hard you had it as a child. To talk about those things is to go back to those conditions mentally. And to go back to those conditions mentally is to invite them physically. Talk about the happy times you had in your youth and forget all the unhappy times. Don't tell how hard you worked and how little you got for it. If you worked hard for nothing, you were a fool, and you must not advertise yourself as a fool. Talk about the good work you did and the good salary you received for it. Then you will be advertising yourself as a competent person who can earn a good salary. Do not say, like Uriah Heep, that you are very humble and boast of living in an ugly dwelling. Declare that you are as good as the best, and describe the elegant house you are in the process of procuring and furnishing. Do not apologize for your clothes, nor say how little you have, nor say that you have nothing to wear. Speak of the fine clothes you are arranging to get. Do not speak of poverty in any way. Do not refer to it as if it existed. Speak of wealth. Throughout these chapters, you have discovered the immense power that resides within you, a power capable of changing not only your reality, but also the reality of those around you. Now I invite you to reflect on all that you have learned. The concepts and techniques that Wattles has shared with us are more than words on a page. They are practical tools that, if applied with consistency and faith, have the power to revolutionize your life. Always remember that change starts from within. Your thoughts and beliefs are the seeds of your future, and you are the gardener who cultivates them. Imagine for a moment all that you can accomplish with this new mindset. Visualize dreams that once seemed distant and out of reach coming closer as you apply the principles in this book. The powerful life that I describe is not merely an abstract concept, but a reality that you can create. I want to leave you with a final word of encouragement. Don't let the knowledge you have gained remain just ideas. Put it into practice every day. Every small action, every positive thought brings you one step closer to the life you desire. You will face challenges, yes, but you now have the tools and the mindset to overcome them. Always remember the fundamental truth that I have taught you. The power to create your own reality is within you. So go forward with determination and confidence. Let these teachings guide your steps and transform every aspect of your life. You are capable of great things. Don't settle for less than you deserve. An abundant life, full of success, health, and happiness, is within your reach. Thank you for joining us on this journey. May you find inspiration and strength in every word, and may you continue to grow and prosper in all aspects of your life. Your transformation has begun, and the best chapter of your life is yet to be written. See you soon, and always remember the power to change your life is in your hands.